Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a faceless update in my downstairs growing space, going through all the things that I've started, pretty much everything in the seedling snail method. It is Sunday afternoon. I'm just getting over a bit of a cold and just not feeling great and not feeling like showing my face on the camera. So today's video is going to be unedited and faceless, and we're just going to go through some of the things that I've got going. I'm going to show you a few things that I think maybe I have done wrong, some problems that I'm having with some of them, and just kind of show you everything that is going on inside my indoor grow space. So first of all, I just wanted to show you some of the seedling snails that I did with flowers. And this is impatience, and even though this says white petunias, they're definitely not white. And these are getting really overgrown. I've already taken, these were originally started in one snail, and I've already taken them and divided them into two snails. And as you can see, they're blooming like crazy here. So I've been trying to pinch off the blooms as much as I can, but man, they just are growing so fast. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, did I start these too early? And I went back in my, records from last year, and it always says that petunias are slow to grow, start them early, 10 to 12 weeks. And I have done it, usually February with not too many issues. But I think what the problem is, it's not really a problem, but I think doing the seedling snail method, because normally I would do these in a small cell, like 72 cell tray. And then once they start outgrowing those cells, you have to up pot them. So when you do that, that kind of slows down the growth, and then they have to kind of get kick started again, and then they take off. So I think this is going to be my theory for this year, is using the seedling snail method, because they never get up potted. They got all this space here to develop their roots. They are happy little flowers, and they just take off, within a few weeks after germinating. The roots start to show up at the bottom, and they just take off. So this is going to be something I'll note for next year, is to maybe start petunias later, because I find them very fast growing in this method. Impatience was another thing that said on the package to not or to start 10 to 12 weeks before last frost, and I did them on, I believe, mid-February, and they have done really well. They got a little bit yellowed, the leaves, after I took them and separated it into two snails. You can see there's some leaves there that don't look too healthy, but there is a lot of flowers here. They are nicely separated in the snail, so they have their own growing space. And yeah, so now I just got to try to figure out how to keep these things healthy and happy for, another probably 8 weeks, because we are at end of March. These probably won't go out into the pots in the yard until, mid-May, end of May, depending on what our weather's doing here on the Saskatchewan prairies. So the battery went dead on my microphone here when I was doing this one clip about my onions. So I'm just going to voice over it just so I can let you know what I'm doing here. So these are Walla Walla onions that I started way back in January, super early. I used the seedling snail method for the first time with onions. I really like it because you can get a lot of onions in one snail, and you can get a lot of different varieties going and not take up too much space in your grow room under the lights. So I'm just trimming them back. This is the second time that I've trimmed these Walla Wallas, and I find that hopefully helps them not get too overgrown. They aren't going to start shooting out flowers or anything, and they will focus more on that bulb development. And then I got about 5 different other varieties that I started on the 16th of February. So it doesn't seem like it's too early for them. They're not looking stressed or overgrown or anything. Again, maybe next year I might start them a little bit later, but these can go out early May. They're more cool tolerant type things, so not as long a wait as some of the flowers, that they're more of the tender annuals. And I can take these greens from the tops that I cut off and just use them in my cooking, maybe throwing in with my potatoes or in a salad or, with some eggs. So you can use those greens up after the trimming. So I've been bottom watering these and they have a really good root system going. And I find that onions don't mind being crowded. And when it goes to plant them out, even if there are, a little overseeded or crowded inside the snail, they pull apart really easy. The roots are really easy to untangle. So they work out really well. And I'm also going to try winter sowing one of the bulb varieties. I believe it's a red onion. I'm going to put those out in a winter sowing method and see how they do, so we have something to compare to see which method works best. Okay, so this is my next tray of stuff that I had started quite a while ago from seed. I've got some geraniums here that I planted in here. There was only about 10 seeds and they are nicely separated. They are nice and healthy. You can see I got the roots coming out the bottom. So I'm hoping these will just stay in here until I'm ready to plant them out into different pots. This is some alpine strawberries. These are ones that I stratified the seeds in the freezer or the fridge for about 30 days and then just planted them up in the seedling snail. I believe that was February 16th as well. And they germinated. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants here. The other half of the package of these strawberry seeds went into a winter sowing jug at the end of February out into the snow. So we'll see which ones did better, but I'm happy with these and they should be fine in this container right up until it's time to plant them out in the spring. Did some more petunias a little later on. So these ones, I don't know if I put a date. I know they were probably no, I don't have a date on here, but I have it written on my calendar. This is just another variety of petunias. These are seeds I collected from plants at the end of the season last year. So when you do that, planting your own seeds, petunia seeds are super tiny. It's really hard not to overseed. But what I did was I took one seedling here that was the original. I unraveled it. I threw away probably 50% of the petunias went into the compost, and I just created 2 snails that's got them all nicely separated so they each have their own space and they're looking really good. So this is just an example of how a petunia would look if you plant it later than I did those first ones. So those are looking good. This is my pepper crop here. So I have 5 varieties of pepper started here now, and they are looking good, except for looking like maybe a bit of a nutrient deficiency. They were starting to turn yellow. So I've been giving them a diluted feeding of fertilizer. And those yellow leaves usually fall off, like you can see here. The ones at the bottom will just slowly pop off. And as long as you're starting to see some more green growth at the top, usually that means hopefully that they're happy and they're getting enough nitrogen. Some of them here are already starting to shoot out some blooms. So I've been just pinching those off because again, I don't want them to be flowering and fruiting while they're indoors. And usually I do that right up until the time I'm planting them outdoors, even just before they go out into their space in the garden. I will pinch off all the blooms. That way all the energy is going into the root system. So these will be in the indoors for several weeks because I don't put these out into the garden until after last frost date, usually first part of June, because they really like that warm soil. So this is another round of seed starting in the snails that I did right around that first week of March 9th. So I tried another batch of peppers here. So these were started about a month later than that first round of peppers. These are sweet Italian frying peppers. I really like this variety. I forgot I had these seeds, so I started a little snail of those, and they just are at that 2-leaf stage right now. March 7th, those were started. A couple other things that I'm trying that I've never grown before, some Dusty Miller. I bought the seed package from the store. I'd like to get a nice bunch of them going to put into my flower pots. But so far, I only see maybe 4 germinating, very slow. Same with the rosemary. I'm not sure if this is going to amount to much by the time they're ready to go outside, but rosemary is super slow to grow. March 9th, I started these. You can see, got pretty good germination, but still very tiny, still at the 2-leaf stage. And ground cherries, very slow to germinate. March 9th, still nothing popping through, but I remember in the past that these were things that you think they're never going to germinate, and all of a sudden they show up. Very slow to do that. So hopefully those will come up. I love growing ground cherries for my grandchildren because they're fun to harvest and find, later in the fall when they are, those little ripe berries are inside those little shells. So that's all I grow them for, is just for fun with kids. And something else I tried out for the first time was collecting seeds from mini begonias that I had bought at the greenhouse last year and planted. I really liked them. So I grabbed a bunch of the flower pods off of it last fall, just threw them in a paper bag, and not sure if I even had seeds when I kind of took the pods apart, but you probably can't see it in the camera, but there is super, super tiny green happening here. So looks like I did have some seeds in those pods that I took, so that's good. These were started March 9th, white and red begonia. So we will see how fast growing those are once they make it through this germination process. So my last tray I got going here is just a mishmash of a few different things. These are pansies, and these are seeds that I collected from my pansies out in the fall, and they are doing great here. I got a really nice pile of them. I haven't worried about thinning them out yet. They don't seem to be too upset about, their spacing and everything, so I'm just leaving them for now. I've done some celery. I don't know why. I wasn't going to grow celery. Didn't really think it was that great at tasting. I didn't really care for it too much, but I had the celery seeds and the spare snail here. So I got really good germination this year. Last year, I only got a few that germinated. I did them in just little seedling cells. So these are in a snail. They'll stay in here till it's time to plant them out. And this is another example of how hard it is to get even germination of petunias when you're using your own seeds that you've collected. For some reason, I got, a big clump in one spot and very few over here. So I'm going to try and pull these out before they get too far gone, see if I can replace them. Or another alternative is just to unravel your snail and pull them apart and spread them out within the snail, roll them back up. This was another experiment that has turned out really well. Look at this beautiful coleus. So I have taken my coleuses indoors last fall. I took a bunch of cuttings off the plants, put them in water, rooted them, potted them up in pots, and I've been keeping them in the house as house plants all winter. I did that with a couple varieties of coleuses and some potato vine. Or what I did here was I took a bunch of cuttings off the plant, cleaned off the stems, and just set them up in the snail about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. I made a video, and they have just taken off. They're looking beautiful. They are shooting out roots at the bottom. So this is going to be a great way to get a whole bunch of coleuses for all my flower pots. I don't have to go out and buy them from the greenhouse. So I will be doing that with some of the other colors of coleuses that I have going and the potato vine. Okay, so that was just a quick update of what I have going on in my indoor growing space. I'm actually really surprised how little I have going on. Like I say, I'm waiting on a lot of things. I'm not pushing it. I'm not starting things too soon. I'm doing a lot more winter sowing, and that I'm even waiting on because we have all these cold nighttime temperatures still in the forecast for the next 14 days. So if you live in a cold climate, make sure you're watching those 14-day forecasts, check the nighttime temperatures, and just kind of decide if it's safe to winter sow those tender annuals. And when we get into May, when it's time to direct sow things, we want to make sure that that soil temperature is right and just not rush everything. So tomatoes, I'm so excited, and I got so many varieties here that I want to grow and try, and I actually just ordered some more today. So the next video hopefully is going to be on starting tomatoes. I have my solo cup method that I love doing. I like doing it in the seedling snail as well. So it's going to be all about how you can start a whole bunch of different tomato varieties and not take up too much space, hopefully. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you for watching me today or listening to me today, and we will see you on the next video.